ones, they're becoming more westernised in their ways, and that cultural drift is happening, and you can see it. And I guess for the older people that must be very frustrating in a way, but I guess it's inevitability of people living more urbanised existence, and the younger people are voting with their feet. You'll see in town here, the younger ones, they're all dressed up in, the young fellas, you'll see they're dressed up in their rap gear and the hats backwards and all the thing, and they're like our young people. They like that. They want all the mod cons. They want all that sort of modern lifestyle, and that's the way it's going. Which is, yeah, it is that cultural drift, and I think that's going to be more and more a factor. If you go like in the other parts of Australia, the east coast of Australia, southern parts of Australia, where I'm from originally, there'd be Aboriginal people down there, but you'd hardly even notice them, because they've sort of melded into our society. They've sort of just become, they live pretty much like the way we do. So, but here in Central Australia, yeah, it's interesting, because you still see some of that sort of traditional way, especially with the older people. So it's an interesting factor there. Yeah, so these days the government in Australia is just in trying to encourage the Aboriginal people to send their children to school as much as possible, because it's a really important thing, and we've had sort of like 2 or 3 generations now where they're sort of fallen through the cracks a bit. Some people, they've fallen out of their own culture, and they haven't really incorporated totally into Western culture. And if you haven't had a formal education up to at least, say, year 10, 11, life can be pretty difficult in any part of the country or around the world. You need to have a basic education, things like doing your banking, making sure when you buy things you're not being ripped off. To just have that, life skills is essential. And for everyone, but including the Aboriginal people, they really need that. So the government now in Australia is really encouraging the Aboriginal parents to send their children to school, and it's getting better. I've been here 20 odd years in town, and I'm noticing the time I've been here, the school buses are fuller, and more of the kids are going to school more regularly. There is still quite a bit of truancy, I notice, though. Sometimes in the shops in town there, and I'm thinking, you should be at school, and what are you doing? You get that. But hopefully over time we'll be able to improve that. And there are some Aboriginal people now that even go to university and do quite well for themselves. And some do very well in the sporting field, or different sort of areas of they do quite well. So over time, I think it'll improve, and the Aboriginal people will become more independent. Because if you get an education and you have a career and things like that, then you're not relying on government benefits and things like that, because that can be a pretty self-destructive lifestyle if you're just relying on welfare all the time. And especially young men could be problematic. Even young women, I've noticed some can be problematic, because you get bored and you haven't got money, and then things like petty crime, we get assaults, car accidents, things like that. Alcohol, I should mention about alcohol, because often I get asked about it. What you find with the Aboriginal society is a lot of the older women particularly shun alcohol. And our ladies out here, I've never seen them touch alcohol the whole time I've been out here, and I'm pretty sure they don't drink at all, most of them. They don't like it. But some of the younger people, some of the younger Aboriginal people, and they do unfortunately drink to excess sometimes. So that as I said, that can cause social issues and health issues, let alone the health issues, because they don't metabolise alcohol very well, a lot of them, because of that genetics. So that can be a real issue, create these health issues and social issues. It's a work in progress. I think it's going to be another 20 to 50 years before we find that sort of accommodation in the cultures and things like that. But I think we can all learn off each other. It's a good thing. I've learned a lot of these people. They've taught me some very interesting things through the years. I'm still learning different things to do with their culture. It's fascinating. What we might do in a sec, folks, I think the guys there are about to move off, so I think we might head off and